Welcome to Financially Focused. My name is Denise Williams, and on this program we take you through the journey of building your financial table with 4 strong legs: assets, savings, things that give you that strong leg. Then we have income, which is a strong leg; protection, in which debt management and insurance falls under; and mindset. So with these 4 strong legs, your financial table isn't wobbly and you can navigate through life. Now, in this episode, we're getting really ambitious, really ambitious, because the idea is that regardless of what country you live in, the growth of the wealth ladder happens in $100,000 increments. So if you're in the US, that's 100,000 US. If you're in Cayman Islands, it would be 150,000 Cayman dollars. If you're in Canada, 120,000 Canadian dollars. Jamaica, that's about 16 million Jamaican dollars. And so each currency would have the coordinated number. But the idea is not to be intimidated. We're being ambitious, but we don't want you to be intimidated by the number, because real estate allows you to just pay a 10% deposit and secure a property, an asset that's worth more. So you get paid on 10% and you control 100%. And so to kind of look at this ambition and how to take your family with you, we have with us investment manager, Mrs. Denise Marshall Miller. She's been doing this for about 20 years, or is it 2 years? Because you're so young and beautiful, right? Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Denise. It's a pleasure.
Okay, so we're being ambitious today, yeah? Mm-hmm. Do you like real estate?
I love real estate.
You love it?
Yeah, I love real estate.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those, it's that asset class that helps you to get that leapfrog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're being ambitious. We're leaping by that 100,000 increment regardless of the currency that you're working with. Now, this is, when I say ambitious, because you want to buy property in the Cayman Islands, you want to buy property in Jamaica, you want to buy property in the United States, you want to buy property in Canada. You need a team, Denise. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about the team.
All right, so getting involved with real estate, you really need to associate yourself with people who know what they're doing.
Okay.
You need a really good realtor.
Yes.
That is able to show you a variety of options, and options that are in key locations.
Right.
Options that are in locations that are just on the horizon to break free.
Yes.
So that you can get it at that sweet spot.
Yeah, you want a good price.
You want a good price. You want to be ensuring that you're working with good lawyers that understand the respective jurisdiction, not just having an understanding of what happens in the local market, but they understand what's happening in the Cayman market if that's where you're looking at a real estate. Or if they don't know themselves, they have relationships. So having a team, especially the realtor, the attorney, and I would say a financial institution as well, because what you want to do, and you described it in your introduction, is that you want to be able to make a deposit to get access to this property, but you want to ensure that you're getting good financing, you're getting a really good payback period, and you're getting a interest rate that is competitive and one that allows you to have you qualified to make your payments. Yeah.
Okay, so first is to be ambitious. Yes, let's agree. And then the second thing is to say, okay, I'm gonna go international. The third thing is to have that team. Okay, next is looking at challenges, because we've got to be realistic. What do you consider the challenges?
The challenges is the regulation that may speak to you being not a citizen.
Okay.
And what does that mean? Is it that the requirement is greater? Is it that they're asking for more? you must be able to know how to navigate these challenges. Is it best that you're purchasing this property within a trust, within a company, or is it individual? You want to be able to understand that dynamics, and as a result, what gives you the best return. So I think understanding the regulation for the environment is the major one that you need to be on top of in order for you to navigate that environment.
Talk to me about, let's go back to the deposit. So talk to me about, how do I work with my financial advisor, my financial coach, my lawyer, my realtor? I'm talking to these people about really how to structure my deposit. Talk to me about how that works. How do you see that?
All right, so starting with the financial advisor being guided by the coach, you would have established that you want to buy this property. You would have established what's the time horizon that you want to buy the property. You would have established how is it that I'm going to invest towards having this deposit. Is it that I'm going to be investing in dividend paying stocks? I'm investing in bonds with coupons, and this is how I reinvest. All of that would have been worked out. When you get to the point of you having that portfolio, you're looking at that portfolio to say the value of that portfolio, I'm at the point where I think I can go and make a deposit on a property that I'm pre-qualified for based on my earning power. So that financial advisor is really working with a mortgage institution, a financial institution that is saying, based on my client's earning power, etc., this is what she's qualified. This is the price range of the property. Then that financial advisor and you will be looking at speaking to a realtor to say, I'm looking for properties within this price range because I'm pre-qualified for this price range. Once you have identified the property, you're very confident that this is what you want, you have done all your checks, your attorney has done all your checks, it's the title is not, it is free, there's no issue, etc., all of that. There's no breach as it relates to the property. Once you're good and you decide that this is what you want to do, the financial institution that you would have gotten a pre-qual for will be able to give you this mortgage. You make your deposit, and of course, you would need to settle closing costs, all of those type of fees, but that would be a part of what you would have invested for. So your deposit for the house would have entails the deposit, any fees relating to buying that property.
Okay, so you're working with your professionals, you're doing the paperwork. Now you got to talk to your family about it. You got to bring them along, or do you not? Do you keep it to yourself?
Well, ideally, I think you should have spoken to your family before. So what should really happen if you're an individual? Yes, you're going along this on your own. If you have a family, you have a husband, you have a wife, you have children, what you really want to do is these things need to be a part of the dining table conversation, because this is not just you or the mother and father that is doing this. You want to kind of bring the children along, help them to understand. So that conversation needs to be happening.
So, one of the really trending phrases in the internet, you may have seen this, generational wealth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, trends everywhere. So all we're doing is generational wealth. Now, talk to me about what we're talking about, you getting really ambitious, you using real estate to pull you up the wealth ladder in this $100,000 increment. So you may buy a property for $300,000 and you've just gone up three, rungs. But the idea that you're pulling yourself and your family up the wealth rung, using a asset that you only need a 10% in most cases deposit. How do you put that with generational wealth? Give me your vision of how that works.
So in terms of creating generational wealth, real estate is one of those ideal assets as a vehicle to create, and it gives you, it's able to just pass on from generation to generation. The land will always be there. The property will be there unless you have demolished it and do something else, but the land will pretty much always be there unless there's some natural disaster that is going to take it away. So you're able to pass it on. We have seen the very rich in society across the globe are able to pass on real estate. So that conversation needs to be had with the family, that this is the vehicle that we will be taking on. We're purchasing this property. This property can be passed on to the children. It can be used after you have made significant payment on your mortgage to do an equity loan, that you're able to access this equity loan to do a further investment, whether to buy another property or to do a further investment that benefits the family. So real estate is that ideal vehicle to pass on from generation to generation and to create wealth within the family.
And I want to go back to the dining table conversation, because it's not just the actual property, it's the mindset.
It's the mindset.
So talk to me about the dining table conversation.
So the dining table conversation needs to be speaking about financial literacy. Mm-hmm. From very early, you want to get the children to understand and have a relationship with money. So many of us just grow up and know that if we want this item, we need to give X amount of money in exchange. But they do not understand that there's a relationship that you need to cultivate very early as it relates to money. You want to give them the appreciation of saving, of making wise choices, of let me save or invest because I want to buy a phone, and I use the profit to buy the phone instead of using all of that money to buy the phone. So you want them to understand the difference with consuming and investing. So from very early, you want to get the children involved and having those dining table conversation. Never think that the child will not understand.
Right.
You break it down to them and help them to understand. Something that I did with my son when he was much younger is I gave him the money and he will put the money in the piggy bank.
Right.
And it was a clear piggy bank. So
Right.
he's watching it growing.
Right.
And I said, okay, there's a stock that is coming on the stock market. It's Honey Bun, and you love their products. We're going to buy the stock. So I show him that the same $5,000 that is in the piggy bank, you're looking at it, you're seeing it in the piggy bank. And the $5,000 that you have used to buy the Honey Bun stock, that $5,000 is now showing $6,500, $7,000. And I'm saying you're still seeing the $5,000 over here in the piggy bank, and kind of explain that difference. Mm-hmm. And for him to get to accept and appreciate the importance of investing. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's good that you're putting away something, you're saving, and then the conversation needs to be about, remember that item that you wanted to buy and it's for $5,000, you saw it, and you're saving to $5,000, and when you've gotten that $5,000 and you're ready to go and buy the item, it's now $6,000.
Yes.
That's inflation right there.
That's right.
And once they start to understand,
yes,
they make better decisions. They will save a little of their lunch money.
Yes.
They will not just think about, I want the latest phone and I'm saving for that.
Yes.
But invest, use the profit to do it. So that is how the financial literacy has to be built in the home.
Yes.
And getting them now to look at the various asset classes, how we can save, how we can invest in order to achieve those objectives.
Now, one of the things, we're talking about going up the wealth rung. We're talking about being very ambitious. We're talking about generational wealth. One of the things that I don't want anyone to take away from that is that if you don't have the savings, you can't do this. And so I want to bring in real estate investment trust. Mm-hmm. So with real estate investment trust, These are companies that are on the stock market, the Canadian stock market, the U.S. stock market. In fact, the U.S. has about 11,000
A lot.
of real estate investment trusts. Jamaica stock market, the Barbados, South African, you name it. Why? Because a real estate investment trust allows persons to buy shares in the company and get the dividends like rental income. So if I'm at this point where my salary is small, but I'm ambitious, because we're talking about being ambitious, we're talking about going up the wealth ladder using real estate. How do I have that? Should I be ashamed that all I can afford is a real estate investment trust and I can't afford the actual real estate?
No, there's no way for you to be embarrassed about it, because you know where exactly you are.
Yes.
And the mere fact that you understand where you are, you can now devise a strategy in how you're going to get to your objective.
Right.
So you don't have that 10%
right
to make a deposit on a house. You have not gotten a pre-qualification for a particular
And that's a pre-qualification letter. Right.
To buy a particular real estate. But you know that this is where you want to go. What you need to do is to be thankful that there is an investment vehicle that is giving you exposure to real estate that you can invest in.
And get that dividend income.
And you get that dividend income. So you're getting both a capital appreciation when you invest in this REIT.
Yes.
And you're also getting that income. So you're getting two gains there from that investment. So you having your strategy in your portfolio for real estate is not limited to owning the actual physical real estate.
That's right.
Having the REIT, the equity related aspect of the real estate, is an excellent vehicle to pursue.
So you like real estate investment?
I do.
You do? You like them?
I do.
Okay, so we're saying then, we're being ambitious, we can start where we are.
Yes.
And if you have the funds, because real estate investment trusts, some start at $1.
That's right.
Some start at 10,000, but $1 you can start.
Yeah. And that's the beauty about it. I really believe that investors do not have an excuse not to be investing, because the minimum to invest in the stock market, for argument's sake, the minimum to invest in the local Jamaica Stock Exchange market, you can buy a minimum of one stock.
One stock.
So if there is a stock, let me share, Derrimon Trading is trading below $2. You could have bought one stock. You can, if you decide that it's MCB that you want.
One
MCB
stock?
is trading at $40.
One
it's
stock.
Below $100. Between $40 to $50.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse.
One stock.
As you said before, where you need to start is where you're at.
Right.
That's where you need to start.
Wow. So we are looking at going up the real estate ladder, going up the wealth ladder, but we're not saying if you don't have the deposit, you're out of luck. We're not saying that. We're saying that there are real estate investment trusts that can allow you to just start with one stock, one, on the local market or even the international market. You need to work with a financial advisor. Now here's the thing, somebody's gonna say to you, listen, my salary is small, Denise, you only deal with rich people. How can I talk to you? I'm wasting your time.
No, that's not the case. Typically what happens in most financial institutions, you have different levels of wealth advisors. So you may be having an initial conversation with a client relations officer that works with a wealth advisor, and you have different tiers. So you have wealth advisors that are considered to be working with more of an exclusive group. And there is. So once you meet the minimum requirement to go to the financial institution, the financial institution provides a way for you to be serviced.
So that comes back to mindset. You have to want it.
So it's not an excuse. It's
not
an excuse.
So you have
the
to
regulations are there, FSC is there with the regulations to keep the institutions in check to ensure that they're doing their duty in providing the informations to the client, ensuring that they're being guided correctly. So there's really no excuse for you not to.
Right. Okay. So in this episode of Financially Focused, we're talking about going up the wealth ladder and bringing your family with you. Yeah, that 10% deposit we've been talking over and over again is really what we would consider a great way to leverage yourself up the wealth ladder in a way that benefits you, your children, your grandchildren going down the line. However, if you're not there, you don't have the 10% deposit for the house you want, there is real estate investment trust that by law must pay in dividends the rent they collect. And so you can start right there and get into a real estate investment trust. Talk to a licensed financial advisor and get into that so that you're still building wealth, you're still creating wealth, generational wealth, you still have access to real estate. And, you know, any parting words, Denise, for persons who, you know, love real estate, but they're totally intimidated by the high prices?
Don't be intimidated. Something I tend to say a lot to my clients that are looking at real estate, and they will say it's extreme, the price is too high, it's exorbitant. The price that you see for real estate is the cheapest you'll ever see that real estate.
I agree. I agree with that one.
It's the cheapest you'll ever. So if you think that it's exorbitant today,
yes,
check back within a year.
Yes.
And then you're going to say, boy, I wish I had.
Yes, yeah.
So it's the cheapest. So once you clear that hurdle out of your head, which comes back to the mindset,
yeah, you
start thinking about how can I attain
absolutely
this real estate.
Wow. Denise Marshall-Miller, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
My name is Denise Williams. Thank you for joining us on Financially Focused. I encourage you, visit our website, www.financiallyfocusedmedia.com. Access our free 30-day financial independence course, and I will see you in the next conversation.